is history, the future mystery. This moment is the gift. Every second.
Welcome, Miracle Makers. This is the Call-In Show, and tonight on Miracle Makers, we've got for you in studio myself, Dr. Sarah Larson. We've got Greg Larson and Tyler Larson. It's this show and this time with you means so much to us. It is a way that we get to consciously give. Our family as a whole learn to give early on in our development. We used to bring home so many people, and generally everybody's still welcome. We've just made it a little bit more safer. Anyone who needed a home, anyone who needed food, kind of all of the different cities and places that we lived, that was my role. And when Greg and I got together, we wound up bringing everyone into our fold and helping them. And this is the way we can raise our kids, help each other grow, and give to you. You mean so much to us. Truly, we get that it's one human family. And it's, if we go out further and further and we look at Earth, one being with all of these organisms, living, growing, trees, vegetation, plants, all of this extraordinary stuff that's part of our family, that's part of us. And the closer we go deeply within our own physical body, into each and every one of our cells, that's where free will lives. That's what is truly ours, and ours to shift, change, connect with, make miracles with, lives. And so the further out you go, the further you are part of a universal family, the deeper in you go, the closer you get to each one of your cells, to understanding yourself, the closer you are to shifting your consciousness, your way of being in the world, and what you can create for all of us. So your free will. And tonight we're really going to focus in on this belief that this knowing. We meditate as a family quite a bit, and recently this has been coming up over and over again in all of our emotions and all of our meditations. Unprocessed human emotion is at the base of what ails you, ails me, ails all of us. And so we're so happy to make time to help us reveal how we make miracles out of the unprocessed human emotions that we've been through, and to make for you especially tools to help your body, to help your mind, to help your spirit. And I know we've got a lot of calls on the line already. Tyler, I'd love for you to chime in. Anything that comes up for you when we talk about this, because whatever Greg and I don't deal with, you and Jazzy and everything that's kind of grew around us has to deal with. And what do you think of that?
Well, because they're actually, when I was younger, because I figured out, because, like, you don't really think that your cousins have cousins, and those cousins that your cousins have more cousins, so it's all kind of connected in a line. Because the cousins of your cousins have cousins who are the cousins of your cousins whose cousins have cousins, which are cousins of.
So, that's so awesome. So we'll address every miracle maker that comes on as welcome, cousin.
Cousin,
big
been so long.
Cousin from another cousin.
Cousin from another.
Cousin from another bludgeon.
Wasn't.
Cousin was in bludgeon.
Yes. Oh, baby. And as we're sharing, because we want to take in as many callers, what comes up for you, baby?
Well, as we were talking about this in the car ride down, it's like that is, it doesn't matter what level of people or what level of success people are experiencing, whether it's, success in finances or business or their career or with their relationship or with their kids, whatever. If another area of life isn't working, they're probably ignoring some sort of emotional healing that needs to happen.
So that's so beautiful. And so we are ready for all of the miracle makers. Jarvis, let's take the first call. Baby, that was such a great point. And as we're bringing in the first call, I know you're monitoring Facebook. And Facebook, if you are on the show and watching this, please share. Share it now.
Sarah Beta's watching. Yay!
Sarah Beta, woohoo!
The crowd goes wild. We love you, Sarah.
We love you so much, Sarah. We're so proud of all the work that you're doing. And I'd love for us to get you maybe on the line at some point to do a little sacred attunement or sacred prayer with us as well. And so, Jarvis, first caller, welcome, caller. Can you hear us? Hi.
Hi.
Who am I speaking with?
Hi, my name's Susanna.
Hi, Susanna. Oh, every time I hear your name, it brings up so much joy. I love the name Susanna. How can we help you today?
I am trying to figure out which direction to go in, and I just don't know. Do you have any advice for that?
So I see that traveling is really important to you, and there's been family callings, taking care of the family or connecting to your roots at a deep level that hasn't yet been processed completely. So your purpose and everything you do is so connected to your heart. You're a caretaker, and you love caring on a physical level for a lot of different things. And so it's what your biology and what your purpose shows is you could have taken care of so many kids, so many animals, so many people. And there's another part of you that really wants to be traveling and wants to be light and not have a whole lot of responsibilities. And so this is part of what you're here to do, is be the bridge between those two worlds. Very light, very resourceful wherever you are in the moment, and to be able to give deeply. And so how are we doing so far?
Amazing. Wow, I'm impressed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
So the part that is really yours to take care of, the miracles that you're here to make, really involve turning off judgment for you. It's an interesting place to go next. But this has been part of the process that stopped you from being able to connect so deeply with your individual cells and begin to, like, you've got all the concepts, you've got all of the intelligence, but the judgment has been holding you back a little bit. And the judgment hasn't been out to other people so much. You are very loving. It's the judgment that comes into you. And you're sort of the way it's so subtle. It's subtle how you bring that into yourself. It's you will accidentally like trip yourself up right before something big is about to happen, or you will slow yourself down because you want to make yourself consciously aware of putting too much importance in one thing to what it means to you, rather than really holding a vibration that says and goes with the flow. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And so do you have a specific question that I could answer? Because I know your guides, every part of you is so ready to fully embody. You want to get it all done this lifetime, and you've got so much wisdom already. So you're in a very good place to ask a specific question.
I mean, the space I'm in is like, I have a corporate job, and it's very boring, but I'm very good at it, and it, pays me a decent salary. but I would love to do something that feeds my soul and still be able to make a living, and that seems impossible.
So right now, I would begin with planning trips out to places that you love to go with people you want to either take care of or that feeds your soul, people that feed your soul, or destinations. It's really important to you because and to break up your time in a corporation. One of the women that I got to work with, and she shares this with everyone, her name's Cheryl Herbst, and we made a 3-year plan for her to be able to leave her corporate job, and she's literally doing exactly what she loves to do. And the reason she didn't leave it sooner was because she felt responsible to this company that she worked for 30 years. And resource-wise, she wanted to have her purpose, her mission in place. And so now her mission is in place. The first step for you in this journey of embodying your soul self is begin traveling and bring people with you that you'll be responsible for in those travels. And with the traveling, the business and making more than you make in your corporate position, celebrating your perspective, the view with which you see the world is coming in.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. The timer went off, and I'm
I
so...
see. I heard. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And are you subscribed to the newsletter?
I am. I just signed up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so glad, because I'm going to send out a little, I will send out a little thing, attunement on the newsletter, and you'll know it's for you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you called in.
Me too. Thanks.
You're welcome. Baby, anything to share on Facebook?
Just Sarah Beta says, hey, calling you now. So she's probably online
She's
somewhere.
calling now. And tell her to put her number in the area code. And then
for those who are watching on Facebook, if you put your number in the comments section, we can see that. And then we can look up on the screen. We can see amongst all the callers calling in who.
And then Irene is someone we really, from last week, we want to make sure that we get her. So Irene, please put and so make sure we're aware of that. Tyler, anything coming up for you, baby? The philosopher look.
Maybe make the alarm a little bit louder. I didn't even notice it.
Caller, we are ready for you. It's Dr. Sarah Larson. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Can you hear us?
Is that me?
It is you. Oh, I love your deep voice. I might have.
Well, thank you.
You're so.
I'm actually getting over a little cold, so my voice is even deeper than normal. I'm a light opera singer, so that's why my voice is usually quite deep.
How can we help
much
you?
deeper now.
It's very, very good. Well, how can we help you?
Well, I have been acknowledged in one art, and I want to know if I can be acknowledged again in that particular art.
You know, it's so interesting because you are releasing a lot of emotional stuff right now. So let's talk about that. That's what your body's sharing. And the answer came in very, very strongly. Yes, of course. When you already know how to do it. You did it when you were very, I want to call it young in spirit. And what that means is you were it was like, oh, let me try this out. Let me try this out. And you did really beautifully with that. And now it means a little bit more, especially because you're going back in having had such great success with it. And so there's a little bit of emotion that's being released because the first time, and you've done it, and like your spirit, your emotions, your energy body saying you've accomplished a lot of interesting things that you don't yet see that you have accomplished because you haven't brought your attention and given yourself that awareness. So, how are we doing right there?
I think quite well.
Okay, wonderful. And the biggest obstacle that you have is you're making things too complicated. It's very, very simple. And the simplicity is you had to let the relationship that's kind of going go. And you had to keep all of the good parts, the great parts, very light in your heart, and there's something really great coming in, a great working relationship that can really develop even further for this to come through. Did that make sense?
Very much.
Awesome.
Very much.
And any specific question you want to ask?
Well, that's reasonably specific, but I think that I do make things more complicated than I should. Is there a way I can cut the complications?
That's a great question. And the biggest part for you is sitting down and not interpreting history. It's sitting down and getting still. And whenever the history in your mind and the history of how things were done before comes up, you really, so 20 minutes of being still, then maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And it doesn't mean you don't have thoughts. It just means the thoughts are coming in, but you really don't get up. You don't move. You don't scratch your nose too much. That sort of stuff. You just sit there and you allow 20 minutes of awareness to clean out the steps for you. And so it's very, very strong that when you sit down and you're still, and the stillness might be a little bit out in nature where something is moving, so you're entertained a little bit, but it's very important for you.
Do you know what art I'm speaking of?
So I feel 2 types of art that are really, you're visually, aesthetically, you do a lot of aesthetics, which is lovely. And then you also put together, it's like you synergize things into, and I didn't catch your name. I think that would help me a little bit more.
Jimmy.
Oh.
Jimmy, yeah.
Hi. Jimmy, of
My
course.
last name?
Yeah. You don't have to give us your last name. I just wanted to hear your name, and you can say your last name, but it's beautiful because there's visual, stunning synthesis of, and I want to bring in sort of, it's the universe's voice, and you're to make art, beautiful musical art.
That's what I do, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I do, but now I'm doing it in the fine type literary type films.
Yeah.
Motion pictures.
It's so important what you're working on. It's really, really extraordinary. Part of why it's extraordinary is you've done a lot of internal shifting, and music, the composer, the music, the sounds. This was a Yale study showed that what is being felt by the artist creating it is transmitted to those listening to it. In the holographic universe, it's so beautiful. In this holographic universe, music, the sounds, all of our organs, everything's making sound. And what you're creating is a release of emotions and the visual screen. And so I'm so glad that we got that one. And I hope you're signed up to my newsletter, because I, again, think
I
it's...
think I am. I know I have been before,
Okay.
and I have to look again.
It's
I haven't seen the newsletter lately.
So it's
And so I have to check
Dr.
that.
Sarah at drsarahlarson.com. And on...
I'm sure I have that. Right?
Yes. And so I send out little notes of the different cities I'm going to be in. I'm going to be in Sedona soon, and I'm going to be in San Francisco and San Diego and Las Vegas and New York. And so I would love there's under events quite often. What city are you in?
Los Angeles.
You are in Los Angeles, but you used to be further out, more. Were you in Utah area?
In where?
Utah? Because Utah comes up
No.
very strongly for you right now.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
I would think.
I've been back in. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, but I've been back in Los Angeles for more than 20 years now. But before, I was up in the low foothills of the
Sierra, that's what I saw, was sort of that image. Well, Jimmy, we're so glad that you called, and I'm so glad you're going to be on the newsletter, and so we'll stay connected that way. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Bye, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.
Greg, what's...
There is a person on Facebook. I think her name is spelled Disha, and she has here a 310621.
310621. And so we'll take...
Yay, Disha, here we come. I think it's Disha.
Hi, Disha. We're so glad. Hi, how are you?
Good. It's Disha's my full name, but it's Dee Dee. I've been calling in for the last couple of weeks
Dee Dee,
from the Bay Area.
Yay.
Dee Dee,
So
we're so glad that you called. How can we help you? And I love the updates, because I know every 2 weeks we're getting an update, and it's all of this, even those 5 minutes are so profound.
They truly, truly are, and that's actually why I was calling, is to give an update and to ask a question. The last time we spoke, you mentioned that I would be doing my travel writing regionally, and that resonated very deeply with me, and I knew that it was coming soon. And I actually got my assignment that night, and it turned out to be going to Vegas. Which interestingly enough happened the same night as the shooting. So I wasn't there, I haven't gone yet or anything, but it's just like that was very, very interesting. And I've gotten my next assignment, which is to go to Canada, Montreal, Canada, in November. And I'm hoping to meet with you in December on the spiritual journey, but I'm just
so
curious
excited that you're going to come to Egypt with us. I'm just so excited you're coming to Egypt. And there's and the Montreal, it's interesting because there's something about you and water. So can we talk about that?
Yes. I am a Pisces. I love water. Whenever I need to feel better, just like,
it's
extraordinary. I'll just take a shower or take a bath or go to a water or,
So, Dee Dee, this is
thing.
what is coming in. I really want you to even go further into the water. And it's almost like the water that you're drinking, and to make it a practice to really slow down and drink more water, visualizing what you want to bring in. Montreal is great, but you love warmer climates, and you love sort of, and it's a great place to go. It's going to be great writing, and part of it is your exotic way that you look at things. But it's so important for you to begin hydrating, because the writing and the changes in your emotions and your ability to manifest are shifting. And to really bring in But it's this great psychic sort of writing that you're doing. You're almost being prepared before you go somewhere or want something. It shows up in your, and so you're, when they ask you a little question about it, you're able to give this psychic sort of connection, intuitive, yes, let me do this part. So
I like that.
Yeah, the water is your element. And then the next 2 weeks, there is like attraction and repulsion happening within your environment. It's one of those things to be a little bit prepared for is you have to still stay in gratitude as some of the repulsion energy is coming up, or seeing a lot of the differences is coming up. So Tyler has a few words for you.
That just remind me of a TED Ed where it says, like, how do geckos stick? And they actually stick by, like, opposites attract. So on their fingers, they have a whole bunch of little, like, hair-like substances, and on the tips of those have more little things. And they slide at the perfect angle to get as much traction as possible. So the opposites attract. And then, so a gecko can hang by one of its fingers, dangle.
And so what I love Tyler is sharing in a metaphor is there's been in the past where you're moving in the direction that you love emotionally, and you see the opportunity for growth, and this emotion comes up a little bit, and it's not the grateful. It's sort of like this repulsion because you're seeing underneath the surface of things a little bit. So once you go through the next 2 weeks, you'll be even bigger in your capacity to give and connect and share. You just have to kind of get through the next 2 weeks in this beautiful ability, Dee Dee. So make a list, do the emotional work with the water. And the list that I want you to make is the things that make you happy. About your current work, your current job, about the people that you're working with, because there's a great deal of respect and a great deal of, and now some of the energy is coming down. So to get really, really light and stay light, you have to do the prep work of writing down why you're there, what you love about each of the possibilities that are coming up. Okay. And
I'm confused, but I'm clear, but more confused.
So let me clarify that, just because I don't want to leave you confused, and we can always continue the conversation on Facebook a little bit too. The important part is you're doing great, and usually when you get to this point within something, you start noticing all the things that don't work. And when you notice all the things that don't work, you kind of stop taking steps to make it work.
I get what you're saying. You're saying, like, in the past when I would get to this point, it would kind of be almost like I would look around at myself and say, like, oh, no, this is too much, it's not going to work, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Whereas in this situation, not to do that and just to push through. That makes perfect sense. And I've actually been feeling that in the last couple of days, which is why I was glad this call was coming, because I was like, okay, what do I do next?
Yes.
Because I know exactly. Now that makes sense, because it's almost like I try to talk myself out of something, but I don't need to do that.
You don't, and I want you to pre-plan this. Write down what you love. Write down what's great, because there's great opportunity for movement. So I'm sending you. We're sending you hearts. And we're so glad that you are here with us. And we'll please share this to Facebook as well. We really appreciate those shares. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will be in touch.
We're looking forward to it. Thank you, Dee Dee. Baby, anything you want to add? Did Sarah Beta leave a number?
She did not leave a number, but
Or
David
if-
left a heart. Thank you, David, for
Aw.
the green heart. I don't know, I'm not sure what green means, but it's like a friendship heart, maybe. or-
Yes, all of them are friendship hearts.
They're all
baby.
friendship
They
hearts.
are. I love love. Love is this beautiful emotion. Tyler, go ahead.
When you were talking about like that thing at the end, it reminded me of this one TED Ed about like why do people believe in good luck, and like because people go around like avoiding black cats and knocking on wood, and it said some of the like because like in ancient times people would knock on trees to wake up the spirits in them to guide them. So and people still do that, and like that one where it's like don't light 3 cigarettes with the same match. It was probably in like wars because having a match lit for that long could like get you spotted and stuff like that, and other things.
So this calling into the miracle makers is a sign of miracle making, getting through, because we've got a lot of callers. Tyler, that was such a great share. Thank you. And that's why we knock on wood.
Yes.
To awaken the spirits. Welcome, Anonymous.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your name?
It's Aline. How's it going?
Oh, good, Eileen. I'm so glad you made it in.
Thank you. I'm glad to. So, I'm just curious to see what is up right now. What you could tell me?
It's interesting because with you, there's a lot of the energy of cleaning happening. So tell me what that means.
What kind of energy?
Cleaning, like organizing and like there's a lot of that energy coming in as we're reading, as we're connecting with you. There's so much there. So tell me about what happens for you when I say cleaning. And the more specific your question is, the more I can give you too. And
okay. Well, I'm always I've been doing a lot of work for many years to try, on the awakening path, consciousness. I came across in a different path recently, the past year and a half or so, and I found myself embarking on this type of coaching program, and I'm about to complete it next weekend, and I'm just all of a sudden developing new muscles in that direction, and it's pretty interesting and fascinating, and just would love to see what you see in that area.
And I love that. I love what I'm hearing is you've developed all of these muscles, and it looks like you've been practicing them as well. And you're inspired by what you've witnessed and what you've seen. And so the most important thing around you right now is about creating things that represent what you want. The people, you're very people sensitive, and it's a great thing that you're people sensitive. So to really call in the people that you want to work with. And then I also see you traveling, which is very, very interesting. And the travel that I see has to do with like promises that you made to yourself. Is it in this process that you made promises to travel, or is that the end result of living your dream?
It's this program was involving going to a different town. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so you really enjoyed making that happen over and over again. So I would highly recommend every 3 months planning out a trip, going somewhere. And possibly it's very interesting because when you get out of your environment, you become so much bolder, and you become so good at doing the giving portion that you're so great at. And when you're in your home environment, you're still good at it, but it's a little bit, you learn a new skill set when you're far away. Like you can do it so much juicier and deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
So I'm in the right direction with this?
You're in the right direction. And you are, so the first thing that's coming up, and you've thought about this already, but creating like a brochure of what you want to offer. and for you to really, really create a version of you that's doing the work. You create it in a brochure written down. It's creating the truth of who you're becoming. It's creating the truth of how people are now seeing you. So I want you to create a brochure, and then I really want you to really think about who you enjoy working with.
Okay.
Oh, that's so interesting. Greg is tapping the screen because it's, oh, thank you. He's just letting us know we've got about 50 more seconds. And so, yes, you're going in the right direction. Part of the direction is to internalize this and make this your own teaching. Label it with something that really inspires you. And so you have a great deal of faith. And so using the faith guide that as part of how you label yourself. And so Christians might go into Jesus, Muslims might go into Muhammad, Jews might go into really labeling it with Israel. The Buddhists might label it that way because you've got such a great level of faith to really bring your faith in this. That's part of what transitions you, and you follow so beautifully through. That's what creates for you all the time, is when everything you're doing is connected to your faith.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. I'm so glad that you're here, and I appreciate you. I can feel your heart and your desire to give on a much bigger level. And that's why you built this muscle, is so you could help a lot of people.
Yes.
Yes.
And make miracles,
And
hopefully.
Woohoo! Miracle maker.
And, yes. Woohoo.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. Jarvis, we can
Oh,
go
OSHA
ahead.
said hi.
Hi.
Woohoo.
Hi, OSHA.
If you leave the first 6 digits of your number, OSHA will be able to identify you in
Right.
the long list. But Sarah Beta did leave her first 6 digits,
she
which is
did.
240447.
240447.
Yay, we have.
Yay. Sarah, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for sharing the post, and thank you for sharing the work. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I know when you and I do work together, it's so powerful for the world. That time that I was in the sanctuary and we were doing Mother Mary's flower, that beautiful work together in this beautiful 2 different cities. We had the same image, the same flower. And at the end, when we communicated, building an altar and really bringing in the highest frequency we could, was so beautiful. So what would we like, Sarah, what would you like to create?
Yes. Well, thank you. That's such an amazing compliment, too, especially from you. Well, I'm going to turn it back to you, because what would you like to create? Because when 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am, right? So
Right.
what were you thinking of tonight?
So I really want to create the ability for us to love at a higher and higher level. I really want us to love is the synthesis of attraction and repulsion. It's praise and reprimand. It's nice and mean. It's cruel and it's kind. And for each person that hears this or hears any sound, there is a level of not being infatuated with the self or not being resentful of the self. We treat the outside world, we create in the outside world the way that we see ourselves. And so I'd love for us to create a process that allows humans, allows all beings that are hearing this to really let go of struggle around self-love, to really accept, fully accept who they are is enough. What they've done is okay. They can say, if it was negative, they can say, I'm sorry, and create a better version of themselves. And part of that is really being able to admit what was done. And so, Sarah, what comes up for you with that as we're sharing?
Well, first of all, yes. I'd like to say yes. And I will definitely put that out there for all of us to experience, and it will amplify. The thing that's been coming up for me a lot lately and with a lot of my clients is how we're redefining love out in the world. Because I see that so many of us still have these conditionings from however it is that we grew up. And a lot of that is no longer serving us in our relationships. I talk to people that have been married for a very long time, that love each other very much, people that are single, people that are looking for love, people that are in all different kinds of relationships. And I see that we're moving towards this future direction where we have to redefine what a healthy relationship is for us based on our current selves. Like, who we are in this moment, who we are right now. What are the values that we want to teach our children and model that?
That's so
beautiful. But it's
beautiful.
not necessarily the thing that we grew up with, right?
Yeah, we are here to create the new processes to birth the new world. And that's why I love you being a client. I love you being a friend. I love your clients. I love this work that we're doing for the world. And I love that because all love happens in relationships, and relationships mirror back to you the parts of you that aren't fully aware yet. And so with that, I would love for everyone listening and everyone on the show, Tyler and Greg, and everyone on Facebook and on iTunes and on UBN Network and on all of there's so many outlets, Stitcher, all of the places that this broadcast is going to. It's, I'd love for you, whenever you're listening to this, to really put your hand on your heart and to really embody and feel what it felt like to be loved the first time. And if you can slow this down, and you can do this over and over and over again if you need to, the first time that you were loved, most of us remember that we weren't doing anything. We were just being ourselves. Sarah Bita, what was the first time you felt loved?
I was thinking about that today, so I know that this is why we're speaking now.
Yes.
And I had that thought, that I really remember what it was like the very first time that I ever really felt loved by someone. And I know that everyone remembers their first love and how incredible that is. And it's not something, like you said, that we have to work for. We're deserving of it and we're worthy of it just by being. And the first time that you fall in love, you're at a place where your heart is so pure that it attracts that to you, and it's a very special experience. And what I thought about today was that even though the first time I fell in love, I was very, very young, and now years have passed, I still have that purity in my heart. And I know that I can attract that same feeling again in my life, and I see it
It's really
around me.
Really beautiful.
I know that other people can too, which I think is the message.
I think that's
to share
the message, and you can go ahead and release your hands off your heart. Everyone, I just want you to think about all of that love that was outside you, that you thought was outside you, was really generated from your cells within you. All real love, true love, never disappears. And true love is in the tiny cells of your body. And you gave yourself permission to be flooded with that kind of love. And you thought it was outside yourself. But when you start experiencing that level of love, you begin to awaken the miracle maker within you, and everything that is truly yours, the love of your life, the relationships, the education, the job, all of that awakens because you're embodying this in your cells, this love that you thought was coming from the external world. And so with that, we just initiated the more time you spend loving yourself, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're depressed, whether you're yelling. And this is something we said to our kids, Tyler, all the time. What is it that we say? I love you no matter.
What happens if I'm yelling or anything?
If I'm yelling, if you're yelling, if you're hiding, if you're showing yourself, if you're sad, whatever emotion you might be feeling, if you can really embody, I love you no matter what, the colors of the rainbow, sort of emotions that you might be feeling, and you love those emotions. And I know we have to go, Sarah Beta. Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah.
I love
can
you.
I say one more thing?
Sure. We don't have time, but you can say one more thing.
Okay, this is my last thing that I wanted to say was I was also thinking about exactly what you just said today, and we have these relationships as adults, and when we think about love becomes messy. It's many layered, and it's imperfect, right? But
Yes.
that's what real love is. And so today I was thinking about Joe DiMaggio, who a lot of people know, who was involved with Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
And when this is true love to me, when she died, he was her ex-husband. They had been divorced for years. They had gotten back together. They had separated again. She was not involved with him when she had passed. When she died, he claimed the body. He came and he handled all of her funeral arrangements. He protected her. He kept the press away. He kept people that he felt could cause her harm away from her in that moment. And he took care of everything. For the next 20 years, every week he sent flowers to her grave, as as an offering of his love. And to me, that really says true love. In our times, we think, okay, like, my ex-husband took care of all this stuff, or we were divorced, or there's these separations that we make for ourselves, right? But true love transcends a lot of those barriers and a lot of those labels.
It's so true, Sarah.
Or I love you no matter what.
I love you no matter what. And this is the ultimate thing. We're never going to be done. When Tyler said my cousins, meaning we're always going to be expanding in our ability to love. But the level that we can love will continue to expand. And one of the things is, even if you got into a fight with someone in this time period, as someone who had a near-death experience, and this is why I love so deeply. If I have a fight with someone, or someone is hurt by me, or I'm hurt, I get desperate to make it right in some shape or form. It's one of my little quirks that drives me crazy. I never stop loving. I haven't stopped loving any single person that I've ever loved. And part of that is because when you go into the near-death experience or into death, you feel what everyone else felt. And in this lifetime, here, you want to clean up all of those messes as much as possible, because we never, ever stop loving. We think we do, but that's because we shut off an emotion in that person's direction that winds up ailing us, and it winds up causing us harm. And it's very, very interesting. If you have pent-up emotion around love and you haven't done this yet, you don't have to mail the letter, but write out in words the emotion that you're feeling as a direct letter to the person that you're feeling that love gone sour, or words that you didn't get to complete with them. Those kind of things, write those out. And Sarah, you and I can talk. We can jabber all night long. I know we can. So we're going to say goodbye. And I know Tyler wants to add it. We'll
Goodbye.
say the rest. Love you too. Thank you.
Love you forever.
Forever. Tyler, buddy, what comes up for you? 'Cause
I forgot.
Oh, you did. Okay, baby. Anything you want to share?
Janice, who's been listening the whole time, said, I'm really enjoying listening to this as I'm doing my homework. Such a high vibration, but she can't think of a question to ask right now, so maybe next time.
Janice, share it. And we're so happy that we'll be on Facebook this week and next week, even while I'm traveling. I'm going to Sedona, Arizona. And I hope if you're watching this and you're in Sedona, I am at the Creative Life Center tomorrow night. Yes. And I'm going to be doing readings there and sacred geometry. We have
ancient Egypt.
Sacred geometry of ancient Egypt and of celestial beings. And it's really extraordinary when you get the energy and the understanding of this. So much shifts for you. So if you're in Sedona and you can join us, I would love that. I'll be there tomorrow night at this gorgeous center, and then probably for the next couple of days, and then headed to Santa Barbara and San Diego and all of these other locations. I love being of service this way. I love going to places and sharing this wisdom. Los Angeles is so rich, and I've taught classes and shared this message here since 2008. And recently I've started to take it from instead of just doing Italy and going to Egypt and Ojai and Los Angeles and New Orleans. Actually, I guess I go a lot of places in the U.S. I'm extending out to Sedona and Santa Barbara with these talks. So I hope you'll join me. And you can find out about all of that on my website, DrSarahLarson.com. I love sending you amazing information.
You keep sending people to your email address.
Oh, I do.
It's
Instead
just DrSarahLarson.com.
DrSarahLarson.com. This is why we work so well together, baby. You notice the details. Tyler, baby.
With the like Dr. Sarah, DrSarahLarson.com, I wonder who that's targeting. Maybe like someone, I don't know, maybe like a Greg Larson, something. It's kind of hard to tell because there's not really that many names in there. It's like Dr. Sarah, and then it's like another Dr. Sarah, and then it's like Larson.com. You're like, wait, is it the dot and then the com, or is it the com and then the dot? And then you're like,
you hit it on the head, baby.
Who is it supposed to be to? Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. We've got a lot of callers on the line, and if your number is showing, we will make sure that you get on in the next time we do this. We will do this again in the first Sunday of November. And so keep calling in, and we look at, and a lot of the people we chose called in or shared our Facebook live feed or shared the feed. And so you will get chosen based on that, because we want this message. You are not alone. And so, Jarvis, let me take the last caller right there. The 3 2. Hi, it's Dr. Sarah Larson. You are our last caller for tonight. I'm so glad. We have a lot of people waiting, and so I feel so excited that you get this. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. What's your name?
It's Avishag.
Hi, Avishag.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I guess there's one thing that I'm working on is I guess like trying to repair feeling heartbroken, but I don't remember how that happened.
I think that heartbroken is something that the whole world is feeling. And I can feel it. I feel it in my heart, the level of break that's in your heart. So I know it's so, so deep. So there are different types of people in the world, and this is so important for each of us to know. There was a study done about gorillas, and I love you so much. It's because we are so glad that you're here, and this is working, and we've known each other since the very beginning of my days at the Gateway, and so you were one of the first people that came in. So I'm so glad you're here now, and I can feel it. This is something that I shared in one of those classes. I learned it from a Marianne Williamson class, and then I went and looked it up as well. The class and the course talked about how gorillas, I believe it was gorillas, but a particular group of gorillas felt depressed. They ate less, they had less sex, they moved less. And the researchers thought, let's move these gorillas out and see what happens to the rest of the population. About 10% of the gorillas were depressed. And what showed up happening to that tribe? Avishag, what do you think happened to that tribe?
They got confused.
It died. The whole tribe in the study. And then they all died. And then the next group, they started doing the same research study, and they noticed that same little tribe of gorillas, they started to die off. And so they stopped the study. That was in the 60s or 70s. We now have so much more data about our human hearts are connected, and some people are the feelers, the sentinel beings of the group. And if your family misunderstood you from a very early age, you're probably the sentinel one in your family. You're the feeler. Sentinel meaning you feel, and your body, your cells feel everything that everyone else is feeling. And so it becomes so important to fully understand that as possibly the sentinel feeling being, you have to work to keep yourself within the tribe connected to what brings you peace. If you go, Avishag, and this is for all of the beautiful people that are suicide, and this is for all of the friends that have survived suicide, and family members of those that have gone down that path, the whole family then loses that person that can possibly elevate the whole family, hold the whole feelings of the community that they're part of intact. So I'm going to say that another way. One of the biggest jobs that you have is to figure out how to love yourself, love the current moment, to get the space you need away from other people in order to fill up your emotional well. And if you're not able to fill up your emotional well, you have to reach out and begin connecting with the people that will fill your emotional well. And for some people, going out in nature fills their well, and that's a very good place to go. The earth can take our sadness and use it to help us grow. Tyler, baby?
Sometimes when I'm feeling sad, if I go play sports or something, that helps me.
And that's so beautiful. Sports, it's so important to recognize you're not going to change the feelings or the emotions. What you can change is the behavior around you, and the behavior being actively giving to yourself love, actively recognizing that you're doing a process that gives to everybody, your family, your kids, the whole community, and fill yourself up over and over again. And that's when it will shift to where you have a bigger muscle around having to feel all the unprocessed human emotions that ail us all. I love you, Avishag. I've gotten the finger many times now from Jarvis, who is such a great...
The countdown
the
finger,
countdown.
not the
Yeah,
Dr.
right.
Sarah Larson, you scoundrel, you.
I
Thank
just-
you, Jenny, for leaving your number in the
Thank you,
comments.
Jenny,
and thank you,
and-
Victoria and Osha. We're so sorry we couldn't get to you today.
Well, we will next time, we promise. And Abhishek, thank you for calling. And you know, I'm going to send you a healing after we hang up off the phone. So you'll have some energy processes that are coming your way through the field. And we're doing a get together next Sunday at our home in North Hills. We're going to do the movie Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strange.
Dr. Strange, sorry.
Dr. Strange, right?
It's
Yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Strange.
Strange.
Sorry, I add in the word love. Dr. Strange.
That's
not
a 60s Stanley Kubrick film
Oh.
about that's very strange. Yeah.
Oh, we're not doing that one. We're going to do Dr. Strange, the one that our kids can watch. So you were, of course, invited over, my love. So good to hear from you. She's gone. All
Okay,
right.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, especially Jarvis, for what we appreciate you, UBN, and all of the beautiful work that's happening from here. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Past is history, the future mystery. This moment is the gift.